The Mesquite City Council Forum, also the Overton Power District. We certainly welcome you. This is one of the finest places in all of Mesquite. It's great to be here with all of you tonight. My name is Steve Kiggins. I'm the executive editor for Spectrum Media and the Desert Valley Times. We first want to thank Corey Clementson and everybody here at Wolf Creek for their hospitality tonight. Great venue. Well, let me explain a little bit about how everything is going to work tonight. We have three panelists here who I will introduce in just a couple of moments, and then we will have our candidates over on this side here. We will start with the Overton Power District. We have just one of three candidates who accepted the invitation to be here tonight. Front row right there, Mr. Hanson. So we will hear from him shortly, and then we will have the 7 candidates for Mesquite City Council following that. Let me introduce our panel members for the evening. First, starting on the far end, Mr. John Williams. He is a principal for Let's Talk Nevada, which is one of the co-sponsors for tonight, along with the DVT. Let's Talk Nevada is live streaming this on the web. Maybe afterward you can come up and wave in the camera if you want to. In the middle there, Deborah Demas, the lifestyle director at Sun City Mesquite for the last 9 years. I learned when we met today that we both spent considerable time in Wyoming in our past lives when we didn't think it was, when we thought it was okay to be cold. We don't think that anymore. In fact, she was from Casper, Wyoming, where my daughter was born. So we had a great visit beforehand. So Deborah will be representing Sun City tonight. And then right here near to me is Lucas Thomas, who is one of our reporters at the DVT. Lucas joined us earlier this year, moved all the way from Maine to find some sunshine and some heat. All right, now with that, Mr. Hanson, please come on up, grab a microphone. This is, again, the only candidate who accepted the invitation to be here tonight. Mr. Hanson, you will have 1 minute to introduce yourself, and then we will hand it over to the panel.
Good evening, everybody. First, thanks for coming out to this. It's good to see people get involved with this type of thing. My name is Chuck Hanson. I live here in Mesquite. I've been here since 2004. I live with my wife, Cindy. And I'm active with the Southern Nevada Symphony Orchestra as a percussionist. I've also played a few other little venues here and there. I've played at Sun City with the Frank Sinatra tribute. You might have seen me there. You also might have seen or heard me in various car shows here in town or parades. I drive the antique RV known as the Whale, and we also have the little red Corvair out in the parking lot here. My work experience, I currently work for Clark County as a building inspector. I'm a commercial and residential combination inspector. I've been there since 2003. One of my principal jobs is doing electrical inspections, and I deal with the customers from both OPD and NV Energy. And I see things from their perspective, the contractors, the builders, and the homeowners. And I hear their concerns and their complaints and their praise for both companies. And I want to bring that to Overton Power District. Thank you.
Good evening, Chuck.
I was just going to explain the form, the format for the forum. Each panel member will ask each candidate 2 questions in a rotation. Panelists, you will have 30 seconds to ask and explain the question, and the candidates will have 1.5 minutes to answer for a total of 2 minutes per question. You do have the timer there right in front of you, candidates, so when you start seeing red, let's wrap it up. All right, we will start with Mr. Williams.
Good evening, Chuck. I want to thank you for being here, taking this opportunity to speak to the voters and the citizens of Mesquite about why they should choose you as member of their...
Can't hear you.
Uh-oh, hello. Is that better?
That's better.
So thank you for being here. You've obviously given some thought to the operations in Overton Power District. Would you share with us what you think the top issue is that needs to be addressed at Overton Power District in the near future?
Yeah, thank you, John. I think the number one thing we need to work on right now is emergency communication. In light of the power failure we had back in March, whatever caused the failure is immaterial when the power is out and people don't know what's going on, why it happened, how widespread it is, or when the power is going to come back on. I think this is something that can be addressed in a forthright manner and reasonably cheaply.
Good evening, Mr. Hanson. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. What steps would you take to ensure Overton Power District customers are provided with power at a reasonable price now and in the future?
Well, right now, actually, Overton Power is cheaper than NB Energy in Las Vegas. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but that's the way it is. Now, to keep the power prices reasonable, one of the things that has come up is Overton Power has actually made a better deal to buy their wholesale power for the next 8 years. So the price of the actual power itself should actually drop a bit. So that should keep costs way down. In fact, I believe they're saying they're going to save over $50 million in the next 8 years. Now, with that being said, one of the more important things about keeping costs down is keeping reliability up. And I believe they should take some of this saved money, put it back in the system, work on reliability and safety of the system.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
No.
Good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
A lot of citizens were concerned earlier this year when we experienced that power outage. Obviously, you can't hear me. Can you hear me?
Louder.
Sorry about that. A lot of citizens were concerned when we experienced that power outage earlier in the year. A lot of people were wondering what might happen if that were to happen in the summer. So my question is, in the event of a power outage like that, how can OPD work with power companies such as Dixie Power maybe to kind of create a safeguard in the event of another power outage like that?
Well, I'm not currently aware of just exactly how they would make a cooperative agreement with, say, Dixie Escalante, but I think it's an excellent idea that we do. It would be nice to have some form of backup. It's going to take money to make these things happen. They have to run a transmission line between the two power services. But you're right about the safety issue. As a building inspector, my number one job is public safety. And a power outage that lasts a day or 2 days in 118-degree weather is very possibly going to cost someone their life. And that needs to be a high priority.
Just me again, Chuck. There was talk a few years ago, and of course it was popular to think about a solar farm of some type that at least gave residents in Mesquite a choice to, rather than put panels on their own roof, buy into a community solar farm operated and managed by OPD. Maybe pay a little more for their power, but to have that kind of availability. That, of course, sounds good when you have the power line go out too, and the sun's still shining. Would you support or oppose a project like that?
Well, I'm all for alternative energy, particularly solar. It's everywhere. We have more solar available to us than almost anybody on the planet. And I think we should be making the best use of it. Although that being said, you can only put so much solar power on the grid. The reality of it is solar power, of course, peaks at noon, and it tapers off towards sunset. Whereas in the summertime, our peak power usage is at sunset. So we need to come up with not only solar farming and more solar generation, but we need to come up with economical and reliable way of storing this power so we can use it during peak times. But I'm definitely all for it.
Can you describe your decision-making process towards being green or lowering our carbon footprint? It's always a concern of many individuals. One way is through solar energy. What are your views on going green?
Well, this is the only planet we have. There are a lot of people on this planet, and we're doing a lot of damage. Now, as far as carbon footprints, going green, and climate change, and all the buzzwords that are involved here, these are only catchphrases. We need to be more sensible with how we use the resources on this planet, and green energy is an excellent way to use the resources we have, and I think we need to pursue it, and we need to step it up.
Is there anything about the way that OPD currently operates that you would do differently or that you see should be done differently than is currently being done?
Well, yes, actually. If we go back to the big power outage we had recently, I believe the communication was not there. I think there are perceptions about OPD, whether they're right or wrong. I have not been able to get that deep into the research yet. But there are perceptions that it's an old boys network, and there are people behind the scenes making the decisions. Now, the more open OPD is with the public, the more quickly that perception will go away. I don't want to see that go away. I don't really believe that there is anything underhanded going on, but we need to see more of what is going on. I think one of the things they could do almost immediately would be to have their meetings at a time of day when working people could go to the meetings. That would be a good start for me. And otherwise, I've heard good things about Overton Power and their management, and I think they really just need to put themselves out to the public more and get the public confidence.
Thank you very much. Would you like to take a 1-minute closing and just reinforce your platform, if you will?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Just to recap, I want you to know that in my position as a building inspector, as an electrical inspector, every day I deal with homeowners, business owners, and electrical contractors, and their concerns are the ones I want to bring to Overton Power District in my position on the Board of Trustees. I want them to hear what you want to know, and I'll work hard to make sure they do. Thank you very much for coming out today.